Hari Om. Gently close your eyes. Fingers interlaced and placed in front. Your body relaxed. Breathing is normal. Attend to your mind. Let the thoughts slowly pass away. We will chant the mantra Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahanam Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Let us chant the invocatory prayer of Atma Bodha and 10 shlokas from verses 11 to 20. Om Pratasmarami Hridisam Spuradhatma Tattvam Satchit Sukham Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptamaveti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. Verses 11 to 20. Nanopādivashādeva jātivarnāśramadayah ātmaņāropitāstoye rasavarnādibhedavat panchīkrita-mahābhūta sambhavam karma sanchitam Shariram sukha dukkhanam bhogayatanamuchyate pancha prana mano buddhihi dashendriya samanvitam apanchikrita bhutotam sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam Anadya vidya nirvachya karanopādhiruchyate upaditritayadanyam atmanamavadharayet panchakoshadiyogena tattanmaya stitaha Shuddhatma Nīlavastrādhi Yogena Spatiko Yatha vapustu shadibih koshaihi yuktam yuktya vapustu shadibih koshaihi yuktam yuktyaavagatataha atmanamantaram shuddham vivichya tandulam yatha sada sarvagatopyatma na sarvatra bhasate shuddha buddhavevavabhaseta svacheshu pratibimbavat dehendriyamano buddhihi prakritibhyo vilakshanam tavriddhit sakshinam vidyat atmanam rajavat sada vyapriteshvindriyeshvatma vyapari va vivekinam drishyate bhreshu dhavatsu dhavanniva yatha shashi atma chaitanyamashritya dehendriyamano diyaha svakriyartheshu vartante suryalokam yatha janaha. Today we will discuss about ego and complexes. So far what we have discussed are role of faith, not to criticize others or find faults, I know attitude, concept of devotion, purpose in life. Do not justify your actions. What toys that bring joys. And the previous topic was desiring versus deserving. So if you see the topic summary, as we discussed earlier, to pursue the spiritual path, that which is unknown to us, masters, those who have tread the path, since they have their personal experience, they say they have given us some guidelines to follow that spiritual path. If any sadhak is inclined to pursue that path, we need to have faith in the master who has already tread the path. Be devoted in that pursuit and once we have faith in the master and his teachings, to leave aside that extroverted quality to find faults, criticize and turn inwards and develop that introverted tendency, and not having the attitude that I already know, that element of surrender in areas of unknown are exhibited, then a person has true devotion. Those who have taken up to the spiritual path, whether they follow the path of knowledge, whether they follow the path of devotion, whether they follow the path of action, a person has respect. A person doesn't have that attitude that intellectual path is better than devotional path or the path of action. Each one follow the path diligently, and in that field of activity fix a purpose. The long-term plan or the destination for every sadhak is self-realization. But to attain that self-realization, what are the qualities that a sadhak requires? So fixing that as the short-term goal. So in other words, it is self-development in the short run. That self-development in the long term is self-realization. So to have a purpose, whether it is karma yoga, bhakti yoga or jnana yoga, there has to be an objective, a desired end. Once a person has this purpose in life, then the person is performing, the sadhak is performing action. And when a person is performing that action, not to justify any wrongdoings, because the mind, human mind has the tendency to drag the person towards its area of interest, take away the person from the chosen path. So the person may be attracted towards desire-ridden action. Justify, yes, for the sake of that powerful desire, I perform that action, which may be forbidden. So in that context, it is not to justify that action being performed. Oblate every action to the altar of that ideal. And from childhood, a person has some fascination for some sense object. In that context, we use the word toys. When a person has that fascination for that particular sense object, the person gets attached to that object. Even when a person has chosen a spiritual path, there may be a fascination for that path of knowledge, fascination for the path of devotion, fascination for the path of action. When I say that fascination for the path of knowledge, devotion or action here, what I meant is that person may get stuck to that very path chosen, because a person has put in great effort to turn away from that extroverted pursuit, and the fact that a person has turned from the extroverted pursuit and turned introverted, that very turning of that introversion itself will give a lot of joy. Moreover, a person has chosen a field of activity in that karmic field, that path of action, the path of unselfishness, that will give more joy than what a person derived from materialistic or sensualistic path, sensualistic pursuit. Chances are we may get stuck, we may get attached to that path of action. When a person uses bhakti, emotion, devotion, the person gets immense satisfaction. The quality of joy is far superior. extra care has to be taken that a person doesn't get attached to the path of devotion. When a person has chosen the path of knowledge, the quality of joy is even more subtler. The quantum of happiness a person derives from intellectual concepts is far more than a person, derive that happiness from action and devotion. A word of caution has to be exercised. And then a person has desires. All our desires are not fulfilled. That which we have paid the price, that alone we deserve. Then chances are it is one's ego or that complexes that doesn't allow us to see. It's like a cataract. It doesn't allow us to see why is it that we are entertaining so many desires and only few desires are getting fulfilled. Is there someone dishing out, fulfilling all our desires? And in that context, this concept of ego and complexes are taken up. So, this concept of ego is, from the ultimate standpoint, Brahman alone exists, that Paripurna. The fact that human being is born separated from that totality, that Brahman, that itself is ego. Like ocean exists when that ocean water gets heated up, gets evaporated, the surface water gets evaporated, forms clouds, condenses, and then gives rain. Excess water content in the clouds pour down as rain, and that rain forms a river. Now the river has got its individuality, a particular source, origin, length and breadth. A name is given for the river. Ocean also has a name, but just that spirit in this example matters. The spirit is till that river water from its source till the time it merges back into that ocean, there is an individuality, that separation. Same way, Brahman alone exists, and from that, because of Purushartha, self-effort, human being pops out of the Brahman and individuality is formed. I'm not getting into discussion of when was the first birth, how many births have taken place, how many more births will be there to get back to Brahman. All that I'm not getting a discussion right now. To bring in this concept of ego, this is from absolute standpoint of view. From the relative point of view, ego, I don't know about plants and animals, whether they have ego or not. We say the king of jungle, the lion, majestically walks. Whether the king of jungle, the lion, knows that he or she is the king, I don't know. Trees, the apple or the mango, the guava, coconut, yielding fruits. Whether they know that they are yielding so and so fruit, human beings are consuming them, I don't know. So for all practical purposes, we take into consideration that plants and animals do not have any ego. Only a human being, a highly developed species, a highly developed living organism has this ego. Ego is a thought. That thought that I exist, this individuality exists. If it is a thought, then it cannot be in the physical body, it cannot be in the vasana, it has to be somewhere in between. To elucidate this concept, I have to bring in the Karana Sharira, causal body, Sukshma Sharira, subtle body, and Sthula Sharira, the gross body. The Sthula Sharira is the physical body. Physical body can be compared to the outer body of an automobile. The outer body of an automobile on its own cannot move from place A to place B unless the engine which drives the outer body of the vehicle. I am not coming into the petrol, the prime mover. Without petrol, no vehicle can move. So the engine is the direct cause for moving the vehicle from place A to place B. So now what is this parallel here? This physical body, gross body, Sthula Sharira is equal to the outer body of the vehicle, automobile. Then the engine is the subtle body. Karana Sharira, causal body is still there. So if this causal body and the subtle body, if you take together into consideration here, the reason why I am taking causal body, vasanas, and the subtle body, the mind, intellect, manaha, buddhi, chit, conditioned consciousness, and ahankar, ego. So these four constitute, four means here mind, intellect, conditioned consciousness, and ego constitute the subtle body, Sukshma Sharira. Where from this mind, intellect, conditioned consciousness, and ego originate from? Vasana. Vasana is the source, is the main cause. The effect is mind, intellect, conditioned consciousness, ego. So if you take that these four as thoughts, thoughts exist in the subtle body. Therefore, either the mind alone can propel the physical body into action, likes, dislikes, desires, worry, attachment, anxiety, etc. The intellect alone can propel the physical body into action, reason, logic, thinking, discrimination. That ego here is that arrogating tendency of this likes and dislikes, this thought is mine, mama, mine. This is my idea, this is my feeling, this is the way I perform, this is the way I decide. So that arrogating tendency, what is this arrogating tendency? That mind and the intellect is being arrogated to oneself. That I am this. This is my likes and dislikes. This is my feelings. This is my thought, my idea. And that conditioned consciousness alone can propel action, physical body into action. Like how mind, intellect, ego can propel the physical body into action, the conditioned consciousness also can propel the physical body into action. What is this conditioned consciousness? Of course, this is not the point of discussion here. Since I brought in this concept of conditioned consciousness, which is part of the subtle body, which is part of thought, I just bring in a little information on this. Brahman is considered as unconditioned consciousness. Consciousness which is unconditioned. When consciousness, pure consciousness, functions through the causal body, vasanas, gets conditioned by the very vasana itself, gets limited, restricted, constricted by the vasana, by the thought, and that is what is called as conditioned consciousness. And that limited, conditioned thought expresses as action. In what way? Sometime back we discussed, mind alone can propel the physical body into action, likes, dislikes, feelings, emotions. Reason, thinking, decision making, intellect alone can propel the physical body into action. Ego, that arrogating thought, can propel the physical body into action. In other words, it is nothing but arrogance. Now this conditioned consciousness can propel the physical body into action. All of us are nothing but that pure self. But that self, Atman or Brahman, that awareness that I am that self is not there. That awareness that I am this restricted, constricted, limited, conditioned person expresses as half-baked knowledge, we say in English. We meet a person, we always say the first impression is always the best impression. So some idea has been created, some perception has been created about that particular person, the place, people, etc. Country, city, etc. So the perception is created and it is stored in the mind. And that experience is over. We meet the same person in the same place, maybe after a year or two. When we meet the person, the same place, etc., though after a year or two, the perception that we have created, that awareness that we have created about that place, people, etc., is the same now. With what perception we, perceive the person then, with the same perception, that limited, restricted, conditioned perception, we see the same person even today also. What is the guarantee that the person is the same? That place is the same. In that way, all of us are blinding ourselves. Though we have eyes, we are not able to see. Though we are having eyes, we are not able to see as it is, but we see the way how we want it to see, want it to be seen. A person fell in love with a lady. The lady was so ugly looking. Everybody knows that lady, talking about that lady is not good looking. And the contention is, how come this man fell in love with that lady? So it so happened that this particular problem was taken to the court where the king was sitting. So when the person came, both the man and the woman there, the king asked, how is it that you have fallen in love with that lady? Even the king, in presence of everyone, said, the lady is ugly looking. Please, this man is saying, please look at her through my eyes. So we say the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Meaning that perception, what has been created, the consciousness is being viewed through one's own causal body, subtle body, and the physical body. In that way, that conditioned consciousness is part of the subtle body. So now coming back to this concept, ego. Ego functions in three ways. I am supreme, I alone exist, I am the doer. The thought, that arrogating thought that I am supreme. Most of the Puranic stories where the Asuras having this thought, I am supreme. I am not getting into discussion of what are the consequences of this ego right now. Exhibiting this thought that I am supreme, I alone exist, I am the doer. I will come to that. But that very thought, I am supreme, this thought of I am supreme can be at the intellectual level. There is no one equal to me. I am the one who is knowledgeable. I am supreme. The thought can be at the mind level. I greatest devotee. For example, the story is that Ravana was the greatest bhakta, devotee of Lord Shiva. But that very thought that I am the greatest devotee itself was an arrogating thought, that egoistic thought. So whatever devotion, bhakti Ravana had towards Lord Shiva was defeated. So that very arrogance took him to the very height pinnacle of his destruction. So that ego can be at the physical level. I am good looking, whether it is man or woman, whoever they are. At the material level, I am wealthy, I am the richest person. So this concept of ego is I am supreme, I alone exist. That when we're talking about I alone exist, it is like each and every person is having that idea that there is no one else living. It can be in a family, in an organization. The thought is all the time, I am supreme there. It is my organization. I am the founder. I alone exist. Everybody surrender unto me. None of your views are taken into consideration. You just work. That attitude. I am the doer. I am the doer in this context will be You know, no doubt a person has this idea that I am supreme, I am the greatest, and on top of it, the person has this notion that I alone exist. I alone can perform any action. I alone can deliver the lecture in a particular way. Nobody is matched to me. So all this is beautifully, evident. A person having this concept that I am the doer. So it is like a wheel has many spokes. But the person who has this egoistic notion doesn't have that idea that other spokes exist. The sense of belonging to the whole is not there. The thought is I and me, that's about all. So what happens to these persons, those who possess ego? The consequences. When a person has this concept, I am supreme, then a person sometimes, start ill-treating others to such an extent that, because the others are not catering to this person, may start ill-treating the person also. I am supreme, I alone exist, others are not surrendering unto this person. It can be even physical prostration. Not, towing the line, the idea, the concept, whatever has been discussed, the other person is not following it, not accepting one's views, sometimes detrimental. I am the doer. No one else can perform the action. A person is working in an organization, a person thinks the entire organization is standing up because of this person. And this person's notion is, if one day if I don't come to office, the office will come to a standstill. In fact, others are thinking, their notion is, if this person doesn't come one day, that day the office runs smoothly. Complexes here is superiority complex or inferiority complex. So that magnificent poem there, Ralph Waldo Emerson talking about the mountain and the squirrel. So the mountain, though it is very big, is bragging about, I can carry forest on my back. And squirrel is, very small. So the squirrel is talking about here that, yes, I am so small, so what? I have a particular talent to crack a nut. It's talking about to the mountain. You have a particular talent that you can carry forest on your back. So nobody is less or more. Both of us have a place in this world. So it is like asking whether the chief minister is important or the scavenger is important. Whether the chairman is important or the office peon, attender is important. Each and every one has got a role to play. It's like asking, what is the use of the existence of plant kingdom? What is the use of existence of animal kingdom? There is an ant, there is an elephant, a snake, a rat, a deer, a lion. Everyone has got a place. So many professions are there. Medical, engineering, politicians, political field, business field, sporting, musical, teaching, art, dance, painting, so many things are there. Each and every field of activity, each and every person who is doing good to the society and those who are not doing good to the society, everyone has got a place in this world. Recognize that individual's presence, accept them as they are, and then move. So in this context here, the beautiful point, the mountain and the squirrel, is driving home this point: talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forest on my back, neither can you crack a nut. The squirrel cannot carry the mountain, the forest on its back. The mountain cannot crack a nut. A stenographer has got a particular talent. The managing director has got a particular talent. If you interchange the position, then the problem arises. The management has got a particular role to play. The union has got a particular role to play. If either of them thinking that management can live without the union and the union cannot, union can live without the management, both are equally wrong. Each one recognizing one another, having the thought that a sense of belonging to the whole, then this concept of ego and complexes can be reduced. So we will discuss further about how this ego and complexes play a major role in individuals' devolvement, not evolvement. Even in the spiritual field also, a person can have ego, complexes. Intellectual path is greater than devotional path. Karma is greater than bhakti. Something like that. So the concept here is each and every one has got a role to play, number one, and recognizing each one's nature which is best suited for that individual's development. So we talk about that beautiful slogan, I had no shoes and complained until I met a man who had no feet. That comparison bring about that complexes. I am superior or inferior. So that person who is not knowledgeable is egoistically boasting one's achievement or mourning over what the person has not achieved. So if we stop that comparison, then we will not get into the problem of complexes.